Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Miles wrote a funny piece about the Fiji water
Mm-hmm.
bottle that I don't know if he was sitting at a coffee shop one day and just decided to implore himself into a free write anyway. And he ended up just tearing a new one for the Fiji business. Like
Oh.
he cut this water down so hard
Mm-hmm.
that it became tap water. And that was during the time that I had just come off of a live with my other buddy Elijah, and
Mm-hmm.
he and I had never met and we had barely spoken, which at this point, with some of my early interviews, I don't know many of my guests as I'm starting out. And
Yeah.
we decided in kind of a behind the scenes dare to kind of put each other on the spot and make each other run with it because we both have a lot of Sagittarius in our charts. And
Uh-huh.
he, so I sent him a behind the scenes dare and it's like, oh, I double dare you to tell the community what I'm going to do for you and our, whatever, whether it's our shared mutual contacts or subscriber feed or building our legacy. I was like,
Yeah.
you put it out there, I'll follow. And I had already put some garbage out there about, oh, we're getting married and it's a shotgun wedding and like he's gonna be bringing this and that. And it was so, you know,
I saw this, yeah, I saw all this status and I was like, oh my God, what's happening over here?
yeah, you were like, okay, so this is so helpful for me to know. I'll loop back around. But anyway, this has guided my evolution of how I want to interview
Mm-hmm.
the people and how much research I do or do not want to do. And
Mm-hmm.
it was at least an example of how much all of us in this little circle over here can run on the fly with things. And so we
Mm-hmm.
have to do crowd control. And so that's all to say that Miles, you'll have to go check out his piece that he wrote on Fiji water. It's one of his most recent posts, and he was supposed to be my last guest, but then due to Mercury being in the Gatorade and all the things of life, we had to also postpone our sessions. So
Understandable, yeah. And I thought you were a Scorpio, aren't you?
I am a Scorpio. I
Yeah.
am. Scorpio sun, Taurus moon, and Sagittarius rising, but I have a lot of Sagittarius in my chart.
I'm a
So,
double Aquarius.
oh, you're a double Aquarius.
I know, right?
Tell everybody
All
when
right.
you were born. So this is our guest, me in Fragments, and it might seem a bit strange to some of y'all that he is. What is he? You can introduce what are you?
I'm
Who are
sorry,
you?
namaskaram to everyone, and I'm sorry I need to be anonymous due to, the topic of, the topics are right about the psychedelics and all other stuff. And trust me, if my work people find out, I'd be in trouble. And more likely, I'd like to keep it only regarding the articles and not about me, about what I write, and not about me at all. So I'm not planning to ever say my name in any of the posts or in Substack in general at all. So me in Fragments, I've been in Fragmented and so many times, so I thought that'd be an appropriate name. So I just wanted to me with Fragments.
Yes.
I I've been on an inner journey for quite a long time, and I don't think so. If it's not for psychedelics, I don't think so. I would have ever stepped into this journey at all.
Hmm.
And I've been exploring consciousness on in depth, you know, making myself a guinea pig to all the substances, not as an
Mm-hmm.
addict, but as a scientist per se. Anyone who's exploring in that, realm, I would consider them as monks, yogis, scientists, whatever you want to call them.
Mm-hmm.
But then we're all in a journey searching for something meaning I'm still searching for what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So I
So here
write, yeah, go on, please.
I said, so here you are. Sorry. Occasionally, I will be shutting off my camera as I am fiddling with administrative tasks because I don't want the energy to be shifted away from you and people tracking what all my eyeballs are doing across the screen. But thank you so much for accepting the gauntlet.
For sure. Shout out to Writing with Water. She's a very good friend of mine. She's from the US as well.
Oh,
Hi there.
Writing with Water. Thank you for coming. We do so apologize for being a bit behind schedule today. It is not intentional, and we are making something beautiful out of it, as Mercury in retrograde would have us do. And we've got fractals of Gaia. Gaia! Okay, last night I was texting this man, and I was in sort of an ephemeral state, like something ineffable, something like you know when you, because you have had enough fractalation experiences. Have you ever had an experience where you feel touched or aware that there's some other, not a presence or just a knowing, a connection to something you hadn't quite seen was there or before, and then it's like it comes into view as if the sun is burning off the marine layer. And there's a very specific feeling that I've had with this sense, and just as maybe some psychedelics people say there could be an energy to it or a spirit to it, or one might be feminine, one might be masculine. Like a lot of people tend to see certain types of temples or entities or things that resonate with certain, whether it's 5-MeO or psilocybin or ketamine or this or that. But I was having an experience that felt so like that, but I wasn't on psychedelics. And so then I was like, well, yeah, okay, I'm having a non-ordinary state. And that could be for many reasons. I've had lots of medical procedures and medications, and who knows what is in the mix with that.
True.
But it just felt like something so like awe-inspiring and sweet. And I've detected the sweetness, like sweet, like as if Gaia were crying tears of honey that were sparkling. And it's something there is really sad, but it's pure. It's so pure that you're not experiencing the consequences of the suffer, like the interpretation of what could be sad, like death or loss or, foreboding illness. And it just felt like one of those moments, because I was typing to him so slowly, because I'm like, this, I can't even put it into words, because the second language touches it, it will turn it to dust.
Yeah.
And so I was typing to him like one sentence at a time as I was trying to conceptualize what I was in. And Gaia, I bring it back.
Yeah.
Gaia was like the feeling, like a feminine, motherly presence that has come to me before, which is like, there's grief here. And I was closing my eyes and I opened to them and I was crying and I was like, oh yeah, grief is here.
The thing with substances, right? When you mentioned about the masculine energy and the feminine energy, right? Acid, Lucy, people call it Lucy, but I find acid to be much more masculine, psilocybin to be much more feminine, right? When we talk about ketamine or any other stuff, it's like a mix of both, right? Whenever you're tapping into any kind of energy, let's say that you wouldn't even know what energy you're tapping into. It could be anything, right? It could be grief of the overall people. It could be the grief of the Mother Earth or the Mother Gaia or anyone else, right? I'm sure you would have done, 5-MeO. 5-MeO is much more quicker than DMT.
Blast off, yeah.
Right? DMT is much more masculine, whereas when you come to ayahuasca, it's much more feminine.
Yeah.
And you could clearly tell the voices, what you hear, the spirit talking. You could clearly tell
the style of teacher, like the teaching structure.
Yeah. even right now, the whole point why I used to take psychedelics was out of curiosity. How could a small chemical, like I ingested a small chemical in my whole reality, how was it just shifting, right? That sparked a curiosity. And if I am able to tap into that by using a substance, I should be able to tap into it without using a substance. So I was just using those as just a key, right? And then when if you put in the work, all these yogis, monks, over all the people spend their lifetimes working on themselves, working on their energy, right? Now the problem is that we don't have control of our energies. We can't just switch, right? We were talking about Neem Karoli Baba, right? Last time when we spoke. It was just like a piece of nothing for him. 10 tabs of acid. Can you imagine? People lose their mind in a single tab of acid. And then there are people who just take 10 and laugh at it, right? So one thing could be if you have control of your own energies, you could tap into any dimension. You could tap into whoever you want to. If you even want to speak with people who have, you know, Buddha or anyone else, you could literally tap into the energy and speak and talk to them. Mother Earth, the universe, who we want to literally. So talking about grief, the world is messed up right now in so many ways, right? And everyone's grieving in their own way. I guess you just tapped into that and felt the grief. And it's
I,
sad. It's very sad there. If you tap into that, I would be in literally in tears. I wouldn't even know why.
yeah. And it made me realize that, of course, this grief, this love, this inspiration, this writer's block, this fear, the anxiety, the stagnation, the boredom, all of it is on the spectrum of human emotion swirling around us. We can be taken by it for a ride, or we can watch it go by. And most of us we have to be in such a productive state of mind. We have to pay the bills. We have to get things done. And there's a thread of that is linked to, the root chakra and survival, and then fight or flight. It can very easily be touched in distress, even when we're not running from a tiger. It's just a car almost cut us off or whatever. And then we carry until we have moments like I had last night where it's like I'm overcome with an emotion that finally knocks everything else sideways and says, I'm here.
Look what's important. See, when we talk about survival, right, we have made survival as such a big thing. It makes me furious. Like people out there are so proud that, oh, I'm making a living on my own. I'm making a living. I'm making a living. I'm like, what are you even proud of? An ant makes the same living. It's like
Mm-hmm.
you're just surviving. You're not living. Surviving and living are two different things. What are you proud of? An ant could survive on its own, a dog, a bull, whatever, everything is surviving. And I believe that they're more peacefully living than any of the human beings, which I personally know.
Right. Yeah. And so the question that I often direct most of my guests back to, which is central to this podcast, is how do you find your way back into the flow? How do you be more intentional and selective? What do you do with your routines? And yes, this is stacked questions, so you can take whatever you want of it and run with it. But it's the pendulum swings between functioning and rest, between stress and digest. And then we try to come back to center as much as possible. But really, most of us are in some kind of flow. And whether that's, what am I thinking, like tamas and rajas, and
Rajas, yeah.
yeah. And so we're always in cycle, we're always in movement. So that's why balance is such the word
The
is,
word is sattva. When you're talking about tamas,
yeah,
rajas,
yeah,
and
yeah,
sattva.
that's
Yeah.
it.
So sattva is like middle in the middle. Like, so the problem with us is most of the human beings get tied to one of the processes and they are indefinitely stuck, right? Let's just say that it could be a home mortgage, it could be a student loan, it could be a debt, you could have a
Mhm.
child. You're just stuck there for 20, 30 years, right? Even if you find the most amazing thing tomorrow morning, you can't just leave everything and go because you're tied to it.
Mhm.
And that creates a friction between yourself that, oh, I found something which is much more valuable. I'm not able to focus on that more. But
Yeah.
then by the time most people realize it, they're like stuck there. And then they still have a long time to go to clear that out.
Right. And then they're already dealing with the past, or then they speed over to dealing with the future, and we're just not here.
Yeah,
And
they're not
so,
present at all. That's the thing.
yep. So we are taking a moment to become present here today. And um, I appreciate all of you for tuning in. There's Writing with Water says, as you're speaking, there's an area called, is it Matahin,
Almatin?
that is under gunfire, and people are asking for prayers. This,
Yes.
and this is exactly what it is, because there's this saying, well, it was actually maybe a phrase coined by someone in one of his books. And sorry, because I've been through in and out of the hospital so much lately, my memory just is what it is. So I'm not going to spend too much time looking for the words that may or may not come. But the idea is that you can't stare directly into the sun for too long, or you'll get burned or go blind. And so we're looking for that power, that presence, but we can only be with it just in little doses. And he relates it to grief as well, that people, when they're grieving, they can only be with it for certain periods of time, or stress. We can only stay in one state, even being in love, for too long before it starts to feel like an overpowering drug, where the
Yeah.
rest of our environment and body, that's coming back to center. And I think I was having a moment like that last night as well, where it's like you open the aperture of your perception to connecting with everyone in the world, or even everyone in your neighborhood, or just noticing what's happening across the pond, not on this side, but that side. And what are they suffering with? And that then people turn on the news and they might watch Fox News all day every day, and or CNN all day every day, or whatever, and become very impacted. But like, it's just bad news everywhere. The world is going to flames. And that's part of why I couldn't even get on my live with Miles, because we had rolling like brownouts due to the heat and lost power. And it's not just Gaza. It's not just Iran. It's like Yemen and Costa Rica and, Congo, and, what's happening still with all of the Muslims in China that just went missing. And
True.
then you open to the world is on fire and it's suffering, and the people are screaming out and wringing their cloths in pain to God. And then there's that moment of like, oh, we're all together and the suffering is so great, and there's comfort with like, well, we're all together at least, and we're not divided. But then so much division erupts over what to do with the suffering. Do we draw a line here? Do we get the bread there? How many people do we kill to save our babies? And then we fracture into division again. And
It
so,
it it lit it literally makes me think, do I really, really want to bring a child into this type of world, to bring a kid. See, there are
mhm,
commercial forces, there are two types of forces. The commercial forces are going out of their hands, if you think about it. The amount of money which is spent on military and all the other stuff, right, is
mhm.
insane. No, just thinking about USA, the America, they spend millions and trillions just on defense, right? All of that, all of the guns, all the ammunitions, all the guns, it needs to be used. They will use it for sure, and they just need one reason to do it. And there are guinea pigs like countries which they still do it. The
Mhm.
only, the only solution which I could think is you know, the inner peace, it needs to be on the top of the ladder, right? It doesn't matter how much ever people be in a talk. Yeah, it should be exactly the opposite way, right?
Yeah.
And I guess we are, getting to that line and people are awakening, There's a saying that, if 3%, 4% of the world people become meditative and peaceful, the whole world changes. It's like a chain effect where it creates an effect to people, right? The presence, I'm sure
Hmm.
you would have felt that presence with Joshua when he was just with you, giving his presence, right? You
Hmm.
felt peaceful. You didn't ask anything for it, and I read your article. It was very beautiful, right? Giving that kind of presence is the best thing you could do for someone, right? Just be there. If you're peaceful, just give that presence, and that will change the person. You don't have to say anything. You don't have to enforce anything. Even if you say like, "Oh, be like this, be like that," that feels like a restriction to someone, right? But then if
Right.
you just be who you are in that presence, that they won't even know why they are feeling peaceful, why are they feeling that way, but then they
Yeah.
will feel it.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I I appreciate that it's a con- we just continue to bring it back to intention. We continue to bring it back to the now. We continue to feel a little of this, a little of that. When it gets too much, we bring it back. We can open the aperture. We can tighten the aperture to whatever is sustainable. And I just welcome Ropes.
That's-
We've got some people trickling in here, and
Mhm.
yes, you have noticed to the newcomers that we are, some of us in costumes, some of us just doing what needs to be done to tame the hairs, and for many reasons, me in Fragments is staying anonymous, as most people I find. I think it's the majority, not the other way, that are coming to Substack from their other lives, and this is a part of themselves that they want to explore and release vulnerably, and it's not something that may support the platform or the business or the relationship or whatever. And I'm not saying that that's for you. I would like to turn the question back to what is it again that has brought you into this orientation with your clothes, with what's going on in your environment. What had you choosing the names again? You went into it in the beginning, but also the question that we had thought of weeks ago, which was the title of this podcast, of what happened to you in your corporate career
Oh yeah.
that made you come to this.
So I'm still in the corporate career, but then it doesn't matter how much you do, that doesn't give you the satisfaction. I'm doing like three jobs at a time, I'm a healthcare worker and I'm a finance guy as well. And I don't mind revealing my identity at all, but then the topic which I speak about, drugs, psychedelics, and all the other stuff, right? If that gets into the corporate ladder, how the world is not ready for any of that right now. Maybe in
Right.
10 years' time, 15 years' time, people are realizing the power of psychedelics, the wonderful benefits of, what it could do if it's like rightly administered. And it's been like not even 2 months since I joined Substack. I joined it for wrong reasons, but then I started writing. And then that's when I saw the number of people who are into consciousness, energy, psychedelics, just my writings were able to touch people, and a lot of people welcomed, and I met so many beautiful people, and that gave me a thing where, what, I don't want to reveal my identity. I don't want it to be about me. I just want it to be about the topic what I write, and I want the full attention to be about psychedelics, consciousness, and all the other stuff. So if there's a series which I've been doing called Symbiosis of Psychedelics, Consciousness, and Cognition. It's a series of 27 articles, and we are right at number 11. And the amount of response I got for all the articles were insane. And a lot of people were able to relate to love, grief, and all the other stuff. And just the satisfaction of touching people and hearing them gave me that kind of fulfillment. And I was like, you know what, let me just do it. Even though I'm not a writer, I try to write out of my experiences what psychedelics has taught me. So here we are, and wonderful Jamie. I don't even know how we started talking. We started talking out of so randomly, isn't it? I just made a comment
Yeah.
on your thing, and I became a 400 subscriber, and you still owe me a pizza.
I do still owe you a pizza. Okay, so did you become a paid subscriber?
I was looking for it, but
I
then
still have to figure out. I'm such a
I
granny
did send
with
you a
my
screenshot, didn't
techno.
I? I
Yeah,
was like, you know what, let me go upgrade. I was like, where's the option? There's no option to do it. Where is
I
it?
need to go into my settings. That was hilarious too, because that was around the time that I started just being stupid with like celebrating I was like, oh, 444, who wants to be my 444th subscriber? And I got so excited that I promised all the subscribers a pizza party if I could get to 444. And then that's when me and Fragments came in. And I was like, oh, who are you? Thank you very much. and then I did enter the caveat. You always have to read the fine print at the very bottom of the post.
Oh,
That
yeah.
it was for paid subscribers. So actually, I did send a virtual pizza to my 2 paid subscribers that I had at that point in time, and they laughed about it. And so as soon as I get into my settings and figure out how to change the ability to upgrade to paid subscribers, you will get yours as well. And I was
All
like,
right.
do you want like a Costco frozen pizza? You know what Costco is?
Oh, yeah, for sure. We don't
Okay.
have that in UK, but then, yeah. Oh, we do. I know been to, but then, yeah.
Yeah. And so I was like, it'll get there in about 10 days. But it's in the mail. It's just that with Mercury retrograde and the fact that I still haven't changed my settings yet, I'm responding to the future in real time. So there's going to be some delay. And and also, I don't know how you experience the postal system over there in the UK, but I remember it being, I'm sure this is not the case in the UK, but when I was in Spain or Portugal or Italy, I would send a package to someone in the States and it would arrive like 3.5 months later, broken in a new box. And I'm like, what did customs do to our love mail? And so I don't want to know what they're going to do to your pizza.
You know what? Just say it. I'll be there in UK, and I'll be there in the US. You could just buy me in person for
You're
sure.
going to come visit the Redwoods.
Yeah, for sure. California, I'll be there. I'll be there.
Yeah.
Writing with water. You're a fine writer. Thank you. I really appreciate it,
And that is where I linked into you, because I was like, oh, who is this guy? So then, and I think we had been swirling in circles before that point, and we were kind of like sending each other little nods and reactions. And actually, the dang truth is that I asked this guy. In fact, I do this with a lot of people at first. It's not that I'm delusional and I think everyone is an ex-boyfriend. I don't. But there are certain people who have the experience, the knowledge of psychedelics, of metaphysics, of philosophy, of world travel, and suffering in their worldview. And you just put that in the blender and you get a little smoothie of me and Fragments here. And it came with everything that he was writing about. I was like, this feels so much like someone I know. I know this person. I know this person. And I'm like, do I know this person? Like, how much do I know this person? Because both of us had at least one previous partner, per se, that had entered into stalking territory. And we're not going to say much about that. But I just had a suspicion that because this other person had created private, like secret fake profiles. And then I did find out it was that person, in the background. I can link the phone numbers and the emails and all the things. And you're like, oh, shit, I'm not delusional. And so ever since that happened, I now look at everyone. I'm like, are you just another one of these types of people who I'm like, reveal Batman, who are you? So then I basically was like, yeah, come on alive. Cause I'm like, let's see who you really are, because people fake it all the way up until they have to show their eyeballs, basically.
True.
And so he laughed at that when I told him that. I was like, I'm so sorry, but I think you might be. I was thinking, could you be somebody else? I'm like reading what you're writing, and it just feels and sounds so much like this other person. And then he said he actually had a similar experience, and for other reasons why he is staying
Anonymous. Yeah.
anonymous. So
It creates a mystery field, don't you think?
yes, I mean, I'm gonna start doing all of my, and we have the bathroom guy. I call him the bathroom guy. His name is bathroom robe guy, and then it just went to robes. And for some reason, my brain just says bathroom guy, which he probably doesn't like. But he was the one checking on your. Oh, I'm so behind in the chat. Anyway, so tuning back into the present.
Yeah.
And we're here. And last night I was sitting in this very chair having some kind of like, cold, sugary, beautiful grief that washed over me, where I just had to name it. And I didn't even know it was there until I typed it out to you. I was trying to figure it out like in real time. And I said, oh yeah, grief.
I was thinking, what, she should be sleeping right now. What's she doing at 3 a.m.,
Well, and was it 3 a.m.? I thought I was like almost. It was almost 3 a.m. But I know, and we know, and anyone that follows me or reads anything that I've written, we all know that I have grief, but I don't want to be like the grief girl. And I don't want to be someone that just stays in their suffering. Like I'm on Substack actively trying to help myself and learn from other people. What do we do with grief? How do you know your grief? How does it touch you in ways like that? Maybe it doesn't come to you in a little cotton candy cloud that you call Miss Thing and it makes you cry. But like, how do you know when grief is on you? And a follow-up question is, on the scale of 1 to 10, how high are you in your grief today?
To be honest, right, let me just clear this out, right? It might be misinterpreted. I don't, look at things as experiences as good or bad. Those are just experiences. That's how I see it.
Right.
Most people, when they talk about love or grief or suffering, right? The suffering is there. There's no denying, It doesn't mean that, oh, someone is suffering, you get a guilty pleasure out of it, or, this or that. The thing with grief is that if I'm grieving, I want to experience it to the fullest, whatever it is, right? That has been always my thing. You won't believe, till the age of 20, I never had a fracture, all right? And I was like, you know what? I want to experience what it's like to have a fracture. I was like, I want to experience it, what's like to have a fracture, and then had a fracture, and I was like, oh, I experienced it. That's how I look at all the feelings of what it is, right? Recently, when I had a separation, I was broken to bits, even though I had all this knowledge, this, that, whatever. When it hits here, it hits here. It doesn't matter, you're not going to be spared, all right?
Yeah.
But with the grief, I sat with my grief for 3 days. Night and day, I was not able to sleep. I was not able to eat. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to sit at it. I'm not going to divert my mind to whatever, and I'm not going to justify what happened. I'm not going to figure out why that happened, why this happened. I was just grieving, And if you just look at grief and just feel it, right? Most of the people don't, sit with it. They try to rationalize it. Oh, this happened because of that. I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have spoken that. But
Right.
it has happened, and it has happened for a reason, and you're feeling it right now, the grief.
Yeah. Yeah.
My suggestion would be to sit with it. Most people cannot sit with a thought for more than, I don't know, because their mind,
They can't sit with it. Either they're staring into the sun for too long, which, by the way, is from Irving Yalom, who was a famous psychologist who worked a lot with grief. And that was one of the last books that he wrote. Go ahead.
So, so I sat with it for 3 days straight, and I lost a ton of weight, and I wasn't like sleep. I was like a vampire. But by the end of third day, it didn't have a hold on me. The grief is still there. If I still wanted, I could still visit it and have a feel of what it is. But then after some point, you start to realize, okay, you're grieving for someone who has been your love of your life, the memories that you have spent, the memories that you have created, the love that you have shared, it's all there, right? But then I don't want them to be my source of suffering. I wanted them to be my source of happiness,
Yeah.
right? If let's even take I'm bringing if you don't mind bringing Joshua into it because it's a very appropriate example, right?
Yeah.
And if you think about Joshua, he opened up a key for you, a window for you in such a beautiful way, right? You
Yeah.
could either make him as a source of your suffering, or you could either make him as a source of your happiness, right? You still have a choice, right? Whenever
Yeah.
you're grieving, I would say that switch it up to suffering, switch it up to happiness, make him as a source of joy. People, whoever is grieving, everyone in the chat, like, you know, if a person has done bad to you, the best thing would be to bow down and move away. You can't, it's done.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys were in a very good relationship and and something ever messes up, you know, make them as a source of suffering. So, sorry, make them as a source of happiness, not your suffering.
Sure.
And most people misinterpret, right? Love and relationship,
Mm-hmm.
right? Love is something which happens inside you, right? A relationship is what you do with the world.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, when we talk about relationship, right, especially in the West, it's body-based relationship. It's like if we say that, oh, I'm in a relationship with someone, it's almost they think it's sexual, right? I could
Mm-hmm.
be having a relationship with my dog. I could be having a beautiful relationship with my teacher, my master, my guru, you know, but then it's widely misinterpreted as body based, and
Yes.
it's not. And when it's relationship, it could never ever go 100% your way. If it involves someone else, it could never ever go 100%. It's an arrangement between two of you guys. Okay, I'm going to be needing this, I'm going to be needing that, but at least you need to be honest about what you want. No mind games, no tricks, nothing at all. If you know that that person is going to be my source of happiness, you would do anything for that person you love, right? But
Mm-hmm.
then being in love is completely different from loving someone.
Mm-hmm.
Being
Yeah.
in you could just look at the sunset and be so loving. What's stopping you from looking, just simply sitting and loving? If I sit in a certain states, I'm just blissed out for no reason. It took some time, to align your mind and to quiet your mind. All you need to do is just take off your psychological process, and just sit quiet. Every cell in your body would be bursting with ecstasy. And
Bursting with ecstasy. Yeah. And that's I think what I was trying to touch is that when you go into non-ordinary states or breath work or anything that puts you to the edge of life, really, you could be sitting in a hospital waiting room or a hospice bed or welcoming a new baby into this plane. And in those moments, it's a both and perspective. It's dialectical that two things or more can be true at one time. And it can be true that as I'm sitting last night in the 3 a.m. hours texting you that all is in divine timing and whatever needs to be will be, I'm touching the faintest surface of the most compelling, overwhelming, flooding grief. And I was not overwhelmed. I felt like so angelically guided to just be with it. It was almost like a Mother Mary, a Mother Mary spirit of tears and love. The tears come from love, and it's just this cycle, and you can't have grief without love. You can't have, so it's all of it. And that's what made me smile in it, is that I'm so sad that I lost my partner. I am so sad I lost my brother. I'm so sad that I lost my best, dear friend Joel. I'm so sorry that these people, I can't hug them, I can't call them. They should be here in these chairs. They're too young to die, and they died anyway, and they're still here. And people have different perspectives on, like, what does it mean if they're still here? Are they really still here? Is it like, is that just the brain searching for a pattern that it lost its finger on and it's trying to find it? Or is it really that we don't understand the souls and how they continue, energy continues to move? No source of energy has ever stopped. So
It's just, when we talk about death, right? Oh yes, they are in a different plane altogether, right? But then if we talk about it, even Jesus said, leave the dead to the dead, didn't he? I'm not a big fan of Bible, but then, he said, I hope he said, Kurt, leave the dead to the dead, right?
yeah.
The thing when a soul is inhabited in a body, right? You would do whatever it takes to keep the, soul happy, to stay alive, you would do whatever it takes. But then if the soul has decided to leave its body, right? It has decided it for a reason. We were talking about it in last time as well, like why do people die at a very young age? People with cancer and all the other stuff, people with autism, people with, disabled people who are like enabled in a different way, right? I think there could be many reasons, right? But then one could be either the soul could have went through a very, very traumatic experience in a past life, and then, the soul wanted to have a chill, calm life. People who I, care for, and, people with autism or Down syndrome, trust me, they're happy. We think, we are suffering looking at them, but they don't know what's out there. They are in their own world, so happy without any suffering. Everything has been taken care of, right? And there are other souls, right, who are so curious, want to experience the most intense experience. They intentionally choose that, oh, I want to have this accident, I want to know what it's like to have cancer, right? And they make most out of it. The earthly realm, which we are in right now, is the most toughest and the most, intense experiential, you know thing that you could experience in any other planes, and they intentionally choose that, oh, I want to experience what it's like, and then when we talk about contract, maybe it might be not, conscious, but then this whole, wants it, just like how I said, see how it linked, how I said that, oh, I want to experience what it's like to want to have a fracture, right? It is no one in the right mind would be like, what, I want a fracture, right? But then my mind was like, what, I need to experience what it's like. I want to get the full experience of what it's like to be a human. So I do want to know what it's like. I've lost my grandmother to cancer as well, right? But then we didn't let her know that she had cancer until the very last, she didn't even know until she passed away. The doctors gave her like 1.5 years, but then she lived like 3.5 years till then. And then she passed away peacefully, But then once they are gone, the only thing which I try to focus on is that, oh, I don't want them to be my source of my suffering. I want them to be my source of happiness. And trust me, they feel it. How you grieve about them matters a lot. If you're still
Yes.
if you're grieving and suffering, trust me, they won't be in peace. I'm like, no, no, love, trust me, they're happy. After some point, they will find their way and they will find their next home, or reincarnated in a much, much better situations than what life has offered here. So
Yeah.
the only thing should be like, make them a source of happiness, literally.
Yes. And that is a very healthy perspective on grief, how to hold all of it, that doesn't do spiritual bypassing or toxic positivity. It's not like, oh, just you have nothing to complain about, you're not in Gaza. And it's like we all deal with that. I'm like, no, you're right. I'm not a starving child in Africa right now. And this
But
hurts like hell.
it
My
still
heart
affects the same
hurts.
way. That's all our collective karma, if you think about it, right?
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
people only think that, oh, people who are sensitive, they literally feel it to their bones, You just sometimes it's not even about words or all the nasty things which is happening in the world, right?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I just look at a person and then I'd be in tears. I'm like, why are you suffering so much? Like, why? Right? But then if you think about it, not everyone could view in the same perspective of, oh, if the person is suffering, I'm not going to take it. Right? Everyone is in their own thing doing that. Only the people who are empaths and who wants to look, who are really, really seeing, right, can just look at a person. I could just look at a person and just tell them what's happening with them, right? I didn't even know that, I would be able to do all this because I don't know. But then right now, I just need to just sit with a person. I would literally feel what the other person is, going through this or
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And the only thing you could do is give your, if I'm able to feel what they are feeling, somewhere they should be able to feel what I'm feeling as well,
Yeah.
right? So the best thing you could do is be happy, share that light within you.
Right. Right. Or just be, right? And that
Just
it
be.
just be. And we don't have to put any qualifiers on it. It's not good, it's not bad, evil.
That's the first thing.
Just
That's
it's
the first thing you have to do. Do not name an experience as a bad or good.
yeah,
Something which is so bad for you could be good for someone else
exactly. Or it could be good for you later or behind you or
too.
whatever, it's and that's one of the perspectives that drives me back into hope and healing is that if I can just be with it, be with mine, be with yours as long as I have to offer, and then go be with mine and then yours and everyone else's, then we can continue showing up for each other. But grief becomes exhausting when, yeah, there's crisis and chaos and it's too much for one person. It's not for just one person. We heal best in tribes, which is why we're just a bunch of souls, down here flowing and colliding and flowing into each other. And so I appreciate people timing in with the chat. It's so beautiful. Writing with Water posted a gorgeous poem about grief. And
Yes.
you have your own poem that you wanted me to read. And because our live today got scooted back a bit, I'm going
Mm-hmm.
to have to leave in about 25 minutes. And then we can do a part 2 at another
Yep.
time.
For
But
sure,
if
for sure.
you wanted me to,
Uh, it's a tradition that we tend to write poems, don't we?
yeah.
And I could send you a poem which I first wrote, about love, love about not loving a person, about becoming love. I could send it to you in Substack right now if you want to read it.
Oh,
I'd
sure.
be, yeah. I hope it's not.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to make you cry, trust me.
I know. I was like, this guy, because it's probably because I told him, I'm like, well, I told him telepathically, at least in my mind, I told him, I was like, listen, sir, you are here because of love and grief, and you are here to feel, and you also have so many intellectual gifts. And sometimes the intellectualization can bring us out of our feelings. So I was like, I'm going to make him cry. But, it's going to be me. He got that telepathic message. He's like, no, sis, it's you. I feel it coming.
I sent it to you in your Substack. It should be in your inbox right now.
Okay, let's go see. I got some mail. Do you want to engage with the chat for a moment while
Yes, writing with
everybody say
water. I'm gonna send it
hello
to you as well, writing with water. She's
to our
such a lovely
mass.
person, she's from the US as well, and I guess you guys should connect.
Writing with Water is going to be my next guest.
For sure. She'd love it, yeah. It's right on your inbox as well, Write with Water.
Okay, right in my inbox.
Yeah.
What have we got? Oh, okay.
This was written last year. It was like, it's gonna be a year, literally. That's when I realized what love really, really
I
is.
have
That
to
was
blow this
beautiful.
up. It's so tiny on my screen because it's a screenshot. Okay. So it says, oh, my love. I'm going to have to bring the computer super close. Mm, I do need glasses. My left eye is so bad. Oh, my love, do not chase love, for what is hunted is already dead. The soul begs for affection, kneels before idols or dust and ashes, or idols of dust and ashes. Love is crucifixion, a silence where God descends as fire. And there the heart is broken into fragments and filaments, and the wound itself becomes eternal flame of love, becoming the light and wave of consciousness, intertwining souls in bitter threads, brittle threads of life and lies. Become love, oh my love. Mm.
Something, about love, it doesn't die. It never dies.
It never does. I've always believed that love is not something that ends. Perhaps people turn their back on it. Perhaps people close the door and sometimes ignore it, but it's still there. Of
Oh,
the people,
life will show them the lessons, whatever it needs to show. And even
because
if they
love,
turn even if
it's
they turn their back on it, they will
mhm.
realize it one moment or at a time. They will.
Which is why often when people break up and one person goes out and does all the grieving and the crying, and the other person runs into one hookup after another, and they seem to be doing great, it's like they're going to get found by that love they lost.
Yeah.
It's going to catch up, and it's it's the source. Love is the energy of the source. It's what we're all made of in our little stardust galaxies in our brains and our DNA. And so if we can be with it,
For
if
sure.
we cannot not always grieve it as if it's gone. Yes, some of it's gone and some of it's still here. One part died, one part was just born. I am more in love with Joshua today than I ever was at the beginning of our relationship or the honeymoon period or as he was dying. Like, I fall more and more in love with this man as I get to read things that he buried that I've found. I get to talk to people I never knew were in his life, and they give me a piece of his childhood. Like, people come together with their little quilt patches, and they say, I don't know your love, but I've got mine, and let's see where this one fits into the fabric of all things. And yeah, I just really love, I so adore a community that can grieve together, that can hold
Sure.
it together, that can shake together, dance, cry. A lot of the Native American tribes, they did not know PTSD. It wasn't sung about, written about, or observed because their community went out to the reaches, the in between, and loved them back in to the community.
Sure.
Said, what's yours is ours. What you're carrying, I don't know. But if you want to come home, it's going to be ours.
See, the only problem is that, right, with humans, right, we think the entire universe is human-centric. That's the
Mm-hmm.
problem, right? If the entire humanity vanishes, the whole world, the whole universe would just continue just like that.
Mm-hmm.
Most people don't realize that, oh, everything is done for us humans, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then we don't realize that we are one of the living species. We are sharing the world with all the other creatures as well.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine if we disappear, the earth would flourish. We are like, I'm sorry to say this, but then we are like the viruses on the planet, right? The only way is to switch from the bottom to the top leaders. They should be in that right mindset as well.
Mm-hmm.
And there's this one question Bathroom Goyas asked, if I allow suffering to steal my job, so steal my joy, do I become a broken toy? No, my guy, you still have a choice, don't you? You have a choice every time, if you're grieving, just get back to the present moment of no. The past is in the past. Just let it go. And you'll never ever be broken. The soul is never ever be broken. Trust me.
Yeah. We're not broken, whether it's kintsugi or what is the Japanese art of painting gold over the broken glass.
Oh, I forgot the name, but
Yeah,
I
it's
get it. Yeah.
like they had a way of making something
Making,
more beautiful after it had fractured, and
yeah,
then that gold sealed it in forever.
yeah.
And
And it
it
became much more beautiful, right?
yeah,
Uh, and it's like real gold they put into it, the thing. It's like, yeah, I don't remember the name, but that's a nice catch. Yeah.
yeah. And so, in the last few minutes that we have here, what was something that you came into this interview hoping to talk about, prepared to talk about that I haven't asked yet? Something else that you want to touch on?
I was hoping we could be talking more about psychedelics, all the uses of psychedelics. I'm not sure about the guidelines of Substack, and then we might have to watch that on that as well, don't
That's
we?
okay. We'll stay legal. I mean, what we can say. So I'm a certified psychedelic assisted therapy provider with ketamine, MDMA, and psilocybin.
Mm-hmm.
Ketamine has been legal and used in clinics for years, and psilocybin and MDMA are still in the trials, and so
Yeah.
it'll take a while to get FDA approved and rescheduled. And so we know that many people all over the earth, since time immemorial, even back in Jesus's living days, were consuming ergot from, it's like, so is that most closely tied to like LSD?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so it's known that people were having, even the apes, are like eating these
The,
mushrooms out
yeah,
of poop.
the famous
And
theory by Terence McKenna, that's like
yeah,
a glitch in the matrix. We shouldn't have evolved in such a such a short amount of span of time. You
yeah.
know?
And
Yeah.
so we're whether it's fostered in communities like Iboga
Mm-hmm.
or Maria Sabina, and all of those communities are consuming mushrooms and healing, or whatever the plant medicine or even chemical nowadays,
Mm-hmm.
as there are synthetic compositions of 5-MeO, bufo, and we're finding ways that people have called it either, what, the door to God, or oneness, or it's something that is not possible to describe with the language or the tools that we have, which is almost like a heavenly or hellacious experience, that it's beyond this realm. It takes you to somewhere that's beyond our senses, that could be hallucination and only that. And then we integrate, why did I have this vision or this story pop out? It could be also that we're sensing things that have always been here that we just couldn't see, just like we can't hear the highest decibel and we can't communicate as the whales and dolphins do with sonar or infrared or whatever. It's like there are other ways of sensing reality, touching it, and communicating with it and about it that we don't have as human beings. And so we use these substances, hopefully in a therapeutic way, which I know you have taken great lengths to pursue with integrity. And then
Okay.
there are people who use it recreationally, and get into dangerous situations. They run into traffic. They think they can fly off of a building, and turns out we can't manifest reality. There are hard laws of
Hot dogs, yeah.
physics. So, where have you found it to be most effective in unlocking a door or showing you another side of the cube when we're only looking at this side, and then it kind of tilts it?
I would suggest that, with my own experiences, right? I've always taken psychedelics on my own, you know. The moment I take it with other people, it becomes about something else. It's not about what the medicine is intended to do, you know. And the first time I took psychedelics, it opened up my senses to such high senses that it didn't make any sense at all because everything was connected, right? If people are able to perceive that everything is connected, there wouldn't be any harm. If I'm seeing you as a part of me, I wouldn't wish, I wouldn't want to hurt myself, would I? If we still think, we are a separate entity, but we cannot exist in this world without everything which is around us. Trees, animals, plants, everything is connected. If you just see everything as part of yourself, which psychedelics has opened my eyes to, the entire world will change, literally.
Right. Yeah, it's just offering a different layer, a different perspective, a
Perspective.
different just a different we're putting on different glasses.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like different spectrum of frequencies, right? The whole idea of enlightenment is to able to experience all that without using or bypassing things. But then if you have a chemical support to what you have, it's still a support. If you use it as a tool and respect it, it will respect you back in so many ways. It will just
Yeah.
put you in a fast forward in evolution that what you could have evolved in maybe lifetimes or you could just do it in one life. I believe in reincarnation and lifetimes, so that's how I perceive it to be. Like lifetimes of evolution in just few few months, few years. But then
Mm-hmm.
you have to be focused on that. You should not be using it as fun. The respect should be given to for what it is. The moment you're disrespected, done. No more
Yep.
lessons, no more integration, nothing.
Yeah, and so you really do believe in some kind of guide or outside influence or the medicine itself to you're trusting that it has
A specific
perhaps a
consciousness
lesson or
attached to it. A specific consciousness attached to it, right? When we
mm,
talk about ketamine, it works differently, but then it will open up to a different energy of who you are. If you're
right.
able to integrate that into you, you'd be able to access what the
Yeah.
substance gives to you
It's
being
like
sober.
just communicating with a different energy or what do you have to say to the people who are very religiously concerned about the doors that psychedelics could open to the enemy or to entities or to other spiritual realms that we might be very ignorant of? Because I used to think that we lived in a world of consent and that if you do not consent to something being within your boundary, you can erect boundaries. But then I also had to reckon with the fact that we live in a world that does not honor consent. We live in a world with rape and murder and all kinds of evil, wicked acts. And so who's to, maybe we have a lot of just arrogance and ignorance in terms of
There are two
how
sides
the
to the same.
ayahuasca is
Yeah.
used in the jungles and down there. You go down to the jungles, and those shamans know exactly how to use that to possess or capture or influence, and they also know how to use it for good. And so it's like, why are we so naive to think, or just arrogant, the hubris of thinking like, oh well, I could be some little white American up here and sing some Icaros and do whatever I want to do with my soul and leave it be. Because a lot of people come back from those experiences turned sideways, upside down, reckoning with things and what it is we're reckoning with, whether it's our own past experiences, our trauma, it's grief, we put a name on it. Or do you actually believe that there could be something else outside of us? Well, if we're all connected, right? But it's like, what is it that could be of danger in the psychedelic world and wherever you want to go with that?
There are two sides to the. That's a lot of questions. So
So many stack questions. Good thing I'm not a therapist. I'm also obviously not a professional podcast interviewer. We are
Mm,
just having a casual conversation
conversation.
in our
So
bathrobes.
yeah, so talking about consent and all the other stuff, right? There's always two sides to the same coin. If there is good, there will be bad. In and Shiva Shakti, there will be bad. the thing with that is, how much do you respect yourself? How much do you take care of your body? How much do you allow? How much openness do you have? The consent with all the other stuff is, if you treat yourself so bad, there will be entities will try to take advantage of you in so many different ways. They will attach to yourself. There are energy vampires which just suck your energy. You'd be drained for no reason. It doesn't just happen with entities. You just have a conversation with any other human being who is not who doesn't have the right intentions with you. Just a conversation with them will drain you. You don't even know why, right? The currency in terms of life, right? Energy is the highest currency that you could have. People, the entities, they thrive on, energy. They need the energy to survive, if you think about it. So even if you're grieving, that grieving is energy, but then they don't differentiate. They don't know if it's grieving or happiness or no. You're just emitting energy out of
Right,
you.
exactly. So it's like, yeah, with empathy, you feel what other people are feeling, you carry what they're carrying. If you don't let it flow through, if you don't recognize what it is, it's theirs, not yours.
Exactly. And you might even think, oh, why am I sad right now? Nothing is happening, but then I feel like shit. It's not yours,
Yeah.
you just got what the other person has.
Yeah,
And that's where
someone got hit by a bus outside your window. Who knows, Like I have had such waves of pain that struck me as such mystery when I look at all of the contributing factors to my own life. Like what's going on in my environment, what's going on in my body, why am I having it? Did I not sleep enough? Do I need to eat? Is it too much caffeine, less? But then when you realize that maybe it's someone else's, something outside of you, and then you turn on the news and 9/11 just happened, and it's like, oh, the world is grieving. And it's like, well, yes, the world is grieving all the time. So we could tap into that all the time. But why is it that it hits us in some ways? Just, we may not have the answer for when the floodgates open. Why then? But I do think that we're all capable of.
One more question. Sorry. One more
Sure.
question which you asked, right? Why do people are not welcoming what psychedelics is? People demonize what they don't understand or what they haven't experienced it yet. And the unknown, right? It's always it's like a survival mechanism of the body. What's unknown, you'll always be scared, right? The first time you took psychedelics, you were scared for no reason. Oh, what is
Yeah.
it? I don't know, right? It's like this like body's survival mechanism of what I don't perceive. It just goes into a survival mode and is scared. And people, you hear a lot of stories about people going into psychosis and all the other stuff. Those are the people who have never worked on this trauma even when they're sober, right? You mentioned taking a psychedelic, all those grief and all those trauma, whatever it is, that's the only thing which surfaces and loops in. If you have worked it out, you see beautiful stuff. If you haven't, that's going to be the one. See, you haven't worked this out. It just shows you what it is, right? I'd like to answer one thing for writing with water, what is forgiveness is, right? Forgiveness is, let's say that someone has done anything bad to you, right? People try to forget it, like totally erase it off their memories. I would say no, remember every bitter moment of your life, but then do not carry that resentment within you. If you forget it, you're going to be ending up in the same situation again. But then remembering it and then carrying it without any bitterness in you, I think that's what forgiveness is.
You're so good. What's the title of our podcast that we're going to start together?
We could start together. Hey, I'm going to say something weird, so I'm not saying it.
What?
I'm going to say something so weird, so I'm not saying it.
Oh, don't not say it. Try. Luckily, my clients are so cool, especially my Saturday clients because it's the weekend. So they I bumped my my client a few minutes ahead, and
Mm-hmm.
he's fine. So we've got a little bit of time. It doesn't have to be a hard end in 3
For
minutes.
sure, for sure, for sure. Let's what we could just continue the second part literally. It's already been an hour. We have planned it for an hour and a half, and we were like half an hour late.
Yes, we were. And it's my fault. It's also mercury, in the
Literally.
Gatorade, and the Earth is on fire, and then the galaxy put it in the microwave, and here we are.
For sure. And thanks to everyone who has joined. There are like 21 people over here. Thanks for showing up. And I'm sure we'll catch up again, don't we? For sure.
So,
Mm-hmm.
let's see here. Obviously, I do hope to have many more episodes with you. There's so many topics on this podcast and in this conversation that I care about. And I struggle sometimes. You had asked me, really what's the focus or the niche or what's the
Mm-hmm.
audience? And yes, first, it's about grief and recovery. It's about the hero's journey. It's about how do we make a beautiful masterpiece out of all of these messy scraps of tears and blood and money and just all of the parts of ourselves and our lives that hurt. How do we make it into something? Do we make it into something? Why? Is it for us or others? Why? And really, it just comes back to love first. How to move through grief in a way that doesn't push people necessarily too far out of your corner. It can, but how do you grieve in integrity? And how can psychedelics or other tools help or hinder that growth? And there are a billion pages that could be written about each one of those topics. So there will always be future conversations, but ultimately I care most about how people come back to center themselves, their soul, the capital S self in internal family systems speak of how do we stay in our chairs
Yeah, see, the
and
thing is
feel
that, right? Yeah,
this.
yeah. One thing to everyone who's here watching, right? We come here with nothing and we go with nothing, right?
Hmm.
Whatever is happening in your life right now, you're on the bonus side. Whatever is happening on the side, it's a bonus for you, it's a gift for you,
It's a
right?
bonus. It's
It's a
just a
bonus.
bonus.
I'm sorry if I'm generalizing it, but
No, I love
but
that.
then,
I've talked about that before when I when I was struck with cancer after my brother and partner passed with cancer. I was like, show's over. Show is over. That's it. This is my life. I went into existential dread, depression, and but then there was a sense of like, okay, I have lived so much of life, even if I'm young, even if everyone would say it's a tragedy that she dies too at 41 or whatever, whenever we do. And also, what is not a tragedy? What is still here? What can we still do? What can we still touch, taste, sense? How can we still wrap our arms around the people we loved and lost? And that's when I shifted into the perspective of like, no, this is a bonus. I have gotten to travel to 27 countries. I've lived in so many places. I've spoken other languages. I've eaten every kind of food that sent my stomach sideways. And it was all beautiful. And I think tying it all in last night as I'm texting you too late at night for how early we're supposed to begin today, is it's just so beautiful. Like,
yes,
really, it's not to slap it on there. It's because I have I have nursed and like reckoned with grief for so long that I respect it. I respect it when she comes because she lives in the same house as love, and that this is a bonus. That whatever life I have after my cancer diagnosis, it's a bonus.
Honest. Yeah.
It's a bonus. It's like not even if I am happy or satisfied with all of my choices that I made up to this point, because that's what people reckon with, is the guilt and shame on their deathbeds of if I knew I was going to die this way, I would have called my kids. I would have worked less. I would have written more. I would have loved fearlessly. I would have run into every heartbreak with my arms open, saying thank
Yeah.
you.
That's one thing, people don't realize. The only wealth you have right now is not your money, it's not your house, it's not anything materialistic. It's your experiences of life, that what you experience. That's the only wealth you have. And I'm trying to just gain and experience everything what life has to offer. That's the true wealth that you
Yes.
could have,
Life
literally.
is to be experienced, and what a gift to experience it. And I'm not going to say that it's a gift to be in Gaza right now. I'm not going to say what that is for anyone at this point in time, but I can say about my own grief that it's a gift. If I can survive it, if I can use it, if I can make sense of it, I'm able to connect to so many more people at the drop of a hat, just because of the terrain that I have navigated on my own.
It puts you in a different, lens of eye to view life in a whole different sense, right? I think that's the most, the last three things, the cancer with Joshua, with your brother, and with you as well, right? We do not wish upon that about anyone, but then I think those are the most important things that which has ever happened to you. It has opened up a lot of windows for you, your way of perception, the way you feel, the way you connect with people, the way you're helping with people. It's the most important thing than anything else, trust me.
Right. And it's not to say that we're just martyrs, like, oh, good. So congratulations. You've been just like excreted out of the pipes of Shawshank hell, and now you get to go serve people with it. It's like, no, it's not just for others. It's for myself too, because it's helped me to see myself, my capacity, what I'm capable of, how grief is infinite. Like, if it can go all the way that way, love goes all the way that way, and inspiration and ecstasy and bliss and terror, and it goes all the way every way. So it's like, okay, I've always had the thought that people who have suffered the most, for the people who grieve, and there's no rhyme or reason, there's no way to make a pretty story about a 3-year-old dying of leukemia. It's trash, okay? It hurts. And to those people who have been bludgeoned by just careless evil, sometimes it seems like, for nothing, for what? To steal a wallet, for what? Those people have the gift of equal access to all of the glory, all of the magic, all of the miracles, all of the bedazzling jewels on your little unicorn rainbow that you're riding on. It just gets to be, if you want it. You don't have to work for it. You don't have to try for it. You don't have to do all the strokes necessary to achieve it. It's just, it's there. It's all there. And so where we shine the
Right.
lens of our camera, everything, the energy expands. If I focus on this dent in my car, I'm gonna focus on the money it costs to repair it. And then I'm gonna focus on how I swerve and course correct to prevent it. Or if I focus on how the rest of it is still so shiny and strong and safe with that dent in it, and now I'm more careful because I have that dent in it, you know, the flaws, the earthquakes, it's not that it's necessarily that everything happens for a reason. It's not that it was
Sometimes it's just
divinely
plain ignorance,
ordained,
isn't it?
but
Sometimes it's just, yeah, sorry.
we do have the power
Hmm.
to shape the story or to open our eyes to a new part of it.
Sometimes it's just plain ignorance, isn't it? Whatever the war and all the other stuff, it's not
Mm,
like one whole country is trying to destroy the another country. It's just few people at the top for their own selfish reasons taking out doing stuff, and all the
right.
others are suffering.
Yep.
And it's not like, oh, like we want if we could just look at it for what it is, then we could change. Most of the people are not even willing to look at it. You could actually see that most of the good people are suffering. All the bad people who are doing very wrong things, they're happy roaming around without any kind of guilt or shame
Yep.
because they have accepted who they are and they're fine with it. But then
Yep.
the so-called good people are the ones who are swinging between the pendulum, and they are the ones who are suffering the most, if you think about it.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
that's kind of bad. At least, I was looking at a question for Alexei. That's a different one, I'm sorry. So
Mm-hmm.
if whatever is happening, if you just without the emotions involved, if you just look at it and intellectually dissect it, I'm sure we would have an answer. But then most of the people, they suffer now, they look at it, the world suffering, and the next moment they're just gone
Mm-hmm.
looking at their world, doing their
Mm-hmm.
own stuff,
Mm-hmm.
right? How many people in this world were like, you know what, we need to stop this, we need to unite this, it should be a collective effort, and then everyone should just look at it and do something about it. You
Mm-hmm.
know, just looking at it in the morning and then simply feeling the suffering, and then the next moment, like I'm gone. No, if there is grief, I shouldn't be able to sit with it, right? Somewhere along the line, I'm like, you know what? There's nothing I could do about it. Some things are not in our hand. The best thing we
Yep.
could do is just grieve for what it is, accept it, not as in fully, but then try to do something about it. Like talk about
Mm-hmm.
it. What we are doing right now is changing the frequency for what it is. I'm sure
Mm-hmm.
it does have an effect on the collective for sure, right?
Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
so, so everyone who truly care, right? Sit, meditate on it, send some good energy. Even if you're not trying to do anything to change the world, at least change yourself first, be good to others. That's the
Start
best thing.
here.
Start here. Exactly.
And that's what it is with counseling, with anything else. People are so afraid to come into the therapy hot box, and it's
Hmm.
like, what are they gonna find? What are they gonna see in me? It's like, just start with what's yours. If you have only 1%, if it could be objectively quantified, of the contribution to the dynamic, then just focus on your 1%. And even if other people never do their work, you're still impacting the flow of the dynamic. Like, you're still changing your reaction. You're not hitting the ball back to that side of the court in the same way with the same speed. Maybe you lob it over. Maybe you know, punt it.
Yeah.
So you just start here. You start by hand over the heart, you know,
The-
over the belly,
mo-
like coming back to center, coming back to sit with your grief. Just be with it and lose the quantifiers. Is it good? Is it bad? Is it right? Is it wrong? Just be with it and be patient to see what you want to do about it and to see what else it's teaching you.
True. See, another thing is don't, to general public, do not look at people good or bad. Everyone has their own moments. The most hideous man you could ever meet, man or woman you could meet, just meet him at his most joyous moment, when he is happy. You would see that he is the best person that you could hang with at that moment, right? It's just that the persons are stuck in their own suffering. They become bitter to everything that is around them. A truly happy person who is joyful, he's just joyful by himself, not doing anything at all. If you just go to him, you're happy as well. But then if you just go to him when he's like messed up or something is going wrong in his life, he doesn't want near you, right? That's when the friction happens. Bring yourself to what you have. Just try to be as joyful as possible. Just this one thought: wherever I go in this world, I will bring peaceful, joyful happiness to people around me. That one thought, just have that one thought as soon as you wake up, and the whole day will be good.
Right. Do I have to stay there? No, you couldn't even if you tried. So just start there.
Exactly. Yeah.
And well, it's so fun here. We've got, so Robes is back and Mac is here, and we've got a little collection of your friends and my friends coming into through the cracks and bringing it full round circle here as I was drinking out of my Fiji water here, and Miles just devastated the heck out of whatever integrity they think they have. And I had joked, because you said that you had caught wind of the whole back and forth between me and Elijah and the fake wedding and all of that. And
it's like, is she getting married right now? What's happening?
Hey, she's married, and he's back out in the backwoods, and they're doing like mud bogging and a muddy boudoir. What is happening?
I was talking to Elias, and then I was like, you know what, mate, I'm in the UK. I was like, I don't mind the hoods in UK, and I'm allowed to buy hoods in UK.
Right, exactly. It's like, well, those Americans are going to do what they do best, which is set tea on fire. So as we were talking about how we came into each other's awareness, you're in your own fragments, I'm in mine. We've got these fun other cast of characters on Substack filtering in. What was your impression of me, and what called you to speak on this podcast with me?
Oh, the first thing was how you interacted with the article and the way you were able to relate it, right? Just the comments of what you said, right? Most people have to live through it and experience through it to say something like that, right? And I was like, oh, this person has went through some shit in a good way, right? And it opened up a lot of other things as well. And then the way you interact with people, most of the people are recovering from something which they are grieving or trying to overcome the bads in their life, right?
Yeah.
And I liked how you interacted with people, and I'm like kind of in the same mission. If I'm able to touch even one soul, right? Just one soul, like even if I'm able to bring smile on their faces, that's enough for me. That's good enough for me, right? And I was like, you know what? Let me join her. Let me just do my bits. And this is my first ever public speaking event ever.
Yay! And guys, I had to claw to get this man to show even his forehead, because and I do respect people's boundaries. I was like, listen, whatever your reasons are for staying anonymous, that is totally fine. I want you to feel as comfortable. Whatever's going to help you to say what you need to say, you do that. So we have found out that you are not my ex-boyfriend.
Oh yeah. I had to literally prove why. Here's my Instagram. This is not ex-boyfriend.
And then we're on Instagram. Yeah, we're deep. And I love that though. I love how Substack, it's like, yeah, I had medical issues. Elias has been out. Mac has had stuff. Like we're all dealing with our injuries of being on this planet. You don't get to be on Earth without suffering. You just, here's your script, and this is your baby to carry, and you can carry it or not, but it is your responsibility. You may not like that you have cancer, but you may not like you're in a wheelchair, but you are in a wheelchair. So what are you going to do?
Sure. It
And
reminds me of my good friend, he's also from, USA. His name is Dan, shout out to Dan. He's been in wheelchair for quite a year, and he has a beautiful family that he's been giving and showing up every single day. Make the best out of it. Trust me, if I just look at him, I'd be like, you are like, I bow down to you, mate. Whatever you do, it's beautiful. And the suffering, see, the days are numbered, life is numbered, and that's what makes it so much beautiful. Imagine if you're immortal, we wouldn't give a shit about anything. Just
yeah,
because it's so limited, it's so beautiful.
yeah,
And I think it's a blessing, to be honest. And the people who has decided to go respect the soul. The soul has decided something which we are not even aware of. The first thing we need to do is we need to accept that we don't know, right? We don't know about everything that is out there. If we come to terms that, oh, I don't know, then it gives us a sense of relief, right?
yeah.
And that's the truth as well. We don't
Yes.
know.
We
Most
don't
people can't
know.
accept. Yeah.
We don't know. We don't have to know. We want to know. It is so hard for humans to sit in uncertainty. And guess what? That is 99.99999% of life.
Okay.
So as soon as we can find a way to accept, it's not to justify, excuse, defend. It's not to blanket it with something so sweet that it feels false. It's to just be with it. And I agree that
I
it's
blame I blame the education system and the way we are brought up into. There's a saying by Jiddu Krishnamurti, the moment you teach your child the name of the bird, you'll never look at the bird again. You know,
yeah,
yeah, and it goes something like that. If we don't mess with our kids of what we know, right? It's a natural state to wonder what we are doing in this planet, in the small mud ball spinning around another mud ball of fire out of
yeah,
nowhere, right? And it's the matter of realization is so simple, right? If you think about it, we are bound to wonder what it is if we
yeah.
don't try to make things of our own.
Right. Right. Which is what we want to do. Humans want to
Exactly.
make their own thing. Gilgamesh struggling with immortality, wanting to live forever. And it's like we want to put our name on it. We want to put our stamp, our mark. We want to craft it.
Right.
And that's when God laughs at our plans.
All the
So,
people who had so many plans wanted their immortality. All of them were topsoil. We don't find them anymore. All right.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
the once we come to terms that with morality, into mortality, and once we realize that how fragile we are, right? Inhalation, exhalation, inhalation, the next exhalation, it didn't happen and you're gone, just like that.
yep. Yep, it's all breath, we're breathing life in, exhaling death
That,
out, or whatever the mantra is, but
yeah,
it's part of the same breath.
yeah. And we just need to realize how fragile we are. We think we're gonna live forever. That's the
We're so
thing.
fragile. We're so fragile, and we want to live forever. Some of us too. Some of us are like, please take me out. 900 years is too long. Enoch living in the Bible that long, too long. We need to not be elves. We need to have a certain amount of time on this planet that's just enough to really ripen and
Mhm.
just enough to be like, I'm going home, and that is where I want to be.
Exactly. If everyone wants to go to the finish line, right, you should be going right now. Get what I
Oh,
mean? Everyone
yeah.
is focused. Everyone
Wait,
is
aren't
focused.
we there? Aren't we already there?
We are kind of, yeah. It's happening. It's a
It's
progress.
happened in the future, which is now.
Yeah.
This is psychedelic speak. All right.
Oh, good.
So if you could, I borrow this from Tim Ferriss, who, some actual professional interviewer
Mm-hmm.
podcast guys, they have a set series of questions they'll give to people rapid fire. But if you could put anything on a billboard, which all of the traffic in the UK would see by your window. Where do you live, by the way? What's town or?
It's Essex, you know?
Oh, you're in Essex.
Yeah. We're all gonna die one day. That would be on the billboard. I'm
And
sorry. We,
is that
we,
it? Does
is
it have
that
a
it?
period or no period?
It does have a period to it.
Oh, is it a semicolon?
No, it's just a full stop. That's the end of it.
It's
That's
a
the end
full
of it.
stop. So another sentence can start.
Yes. And or you could start living right now when you realize that you're gonna die one day. That's the thing.
Yeah.
People are thinking that they're gonna live forever. But then the moment they realize that they will die, then they will prioritize what's important.
I mean, guess what? We are all actively dying right now. And we're all actively living.
Exactly.
The part that got me through, because I had severe death anxiety after seeing people I loved go in painful ways. I was like, oh, there can be very many bad ways to go. And I do not want to go those ways. Please, God, let me just die in bed with my lover, But we don't get to choose. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. But I realized that honestly, the act of suffering before death is maybe, yes, the hardest part. And it's only the hardest part depending on how you frame it. And again, Ram Dass said, if you want to know how you're going to die, look at the way you live.
Yeah.
All of the ways that you live, those are the ways that you die. And all of your consciousness that you bring to this moment in this now is how you're going to likely bring that pattern of thought to the end time. And so maybe you can prepare for something that you don't know how to prepare for.
Oh yeah,
maybe
of course you can.
practice acceptance.
I'm 100% sure in my experience, I don't believe it, I know that death is not the end of it, right?
Nope,
my
it's
last
just not.
article,
Sorry, guys.
my last article, you don't have 5 bodies, you don't have 1 body or 5, right? I'm not sure if I read it, and I'd highly recommend you read it. I was just going into details about, what happens or what you drop in your death and what you carry forward, after your death. I guess that could be a very, very good insight, and once you experience death in some way, you're not scared of it anymore. Once you know that it's not end of it, you're not scared of it.
And that is where people experience hope and freedom from some of their psychedelic or near-death experiences, because they taste the sublime, they taste bliss, they taste perfection that is dripping with honey.
Yes.
Way that you can't be afraid anymore. But then, of course, we come back into our egos. We remember we're afraid. We have to survive, and we have the cap. We put our caps back on of the ego. That's like, this is all there is.
Yeah.
And so I think that it's very sweet to consider that now is all we have, even if it's everything we have forever. And it is the at least awareness that a chapter ends that makes for a good story, because you have to take your time to structure it and get a good conflict and get a good resolution in time. And I think that's what we're all desperate for is, am I going to be able to resolve my story in time? Part of that is your awareness and conceptualization of it. And part of that is just, we want to write the end of our story. We don't want to die and have it interrupted, and then everyone else gets to tell it the way they saw it, and we don't get to involve ourselves anymore. And that's part of death too, is like, hey, guess what? You got to release it all. You don't get control. You do and you don't, up to a certain point, and then not. And then you just sit with what is. So people say all the things about you. They find all the things in your drawers you hoped they'd never find after you die. And so it is.
Exactly. The only thing we could work on is with ourselves, no other human being would be 100% the way you want. And trust me, you'd be disappointed if you think the other person's gonna make you happy or they're gonna make you as a whole or this. They might be a key, but then whatever it is, the other person cannot be 100% the way you want it. We want
Yeah.
them to be,
Yep.
right?
Right.
Work on yourself for sure. That's the
We
best
just
thing we could do.
start here. And
Exactly.
James is a dear friend of mine over in Hawaii. All the best ones are in Hawaii. I think we got to get over there.
Mm-hmm.
But
I haven't started traveling yet, I should start. I haven't been out of to a lot of countries. I'm gonna
okay,
start by next
perfect.
year.
So you're
Yeah.
gonna come to the Redwoods. We're gonna
Mm-hmm.
get Miles Hack. We're gonna pull in Elijah. We're then gonna get a little sailboat and go just the last jaunt over to Hawaii, the Big Island.
Oh yeah.
And where Elias has a jacuzzi there, and James wants a jacuzzi too, but they've both got farms and flowers and all kinds of community and animals that they talk to, like little
Oh,
Snow White.
that's lovely. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And James says we breathe life in
With
and we
life.
become topsoil. I changed it. He said, but we become topsoil. And I say, and,
Yeah.
because,
True. It's both.
it's all of it, not just one or the other. You can't have one without the other. So that's what's on my billboard, is just and.
And
The
that's good.
center, the
Yeah.
middle of a sentence.
I'm gonna
And
ask you. I'm gonna ask you one question to ponder, right?
okay. I do have 1 minute, so then I'm gonna have to go.
Oh, it's gonna be on second
No,
part, right?
ask it.
All right, let's just say that you're watching the movie. You're going into theaters, you're watching a movie, right?
Hmm.
And then you experience all the emotions what the movie has to offer you. The emotions, the happiness, the sadness, everything, whatever you feel it fully, right? To the extent.
Yeah.
And then you come out of the movie, right? And then you're like, oh, it's a great movie, right? Would you still go watch the movie again? How long would you watch it again? Right? After
I
some.
would absolutely go and watch it over and over and over. And there's a beautiful movie called About Time that is one of the most gorgeous.
Oh yeah, they use time as currency, don't they?
Well, no, it's actually about someone, like, if you knew what was going to happen at the end of your life, would you do anything different? Would you go back and back and back and back to that one death, that one mistake, that one heartbreak? Would you undo it? Would you do it differently? And a lot of people, there are so many moments I've had in my life where I'm like, if I could just have just one card to play, that would be it. Bring him back. Take me instead. Let me not hurt that man's heart. But I can't go back. The premise of the film is he goes back and he undoes mistakes, and they make bigger ones or new ones. And then he realizes it was perfect.
Perfect. Yeah.
It was
Yeah, makes sense.
perfect, exactly as it was. Don't touch it.
Exactly. And there was a study done, a hospital study, people were on their deathbeds, and they asked everyone, do you have any regrets at all? And every one of them, they didn't say the things that, which they did, but all of them said the things which they didn't do,
Yes.
They wish that, they could have done that, which they always wanted to do. That was their biggest regret, even in their deathbeds.
I
Go
wish
out
I
there.
loved more bravely. I wish that I didn't walk through the world with "I'm sorry" on the tip of my tongue. I wish that when I did make mistakes, I was so much faster to own my part. I wish I could have seen the way I see now, but it's never, I regret not doing the scary, brave thing.
Yeah. And Sakura wants to say hi.
Aww, Zachary. I've never met a cat named Zachary.
Sakura.
Oh, Sakura. Oh, Sakura. How do you spell it?
Sakura, it's a Japanese name, Sakura, meaning blossoming of flowers. Yeah.
Of course. All right, sir. You are one of my favorites, and I'm going to find out how to make you a paid subscriber so I can send you a pizza.
For sure.
And I look forward to our next episodes in the future. And
Yes.
what time is it where you are now?
It's gonna be 8 o'clock, around that, 8
Thank you
p.m.
so much for
No,
just creating space in your very busy calendar.
no, it's so good. Thank you for having me. It was lovely talking to you and
All
meeting a lot
right.
of people as well. I hope to catch you very soon, and a paid subscriber is coming.
All right.
No
Bye,
problem.
everybody. Thank you for joining us.
Have a nice day, everyone. Bye bye.
Bye bye.